Yo, this is One Round with Punch Therapy. Today we're breaking down one round of the Oscar Valdez Shakur Stevenson fight. All right, guys, let's get into it. Round number one. One of the things I like to do when I'm watching fights is to see what the first move is when they come out from the corners, right? Who makes the first move? What is it? And kind of figure out why did they do that? You know, what was the reasoning? So they meeting each other in the middle, right? This is literally round one of this fight, so there's definitely going to be some feeling out going on. Ooh, let's take a look at that. That was beautiful. So Shakur Stevenson, right? Great fighter. Let's see what he did here. Ooh, see, these are the very subtle things that I love about boxing. These are the small details that matter, that make a fight. They might look boring to the average spectator, the average fan, but that's not us, guys. So let's see this. Let's see this. Ooh, see how he makes that feint to the body? He kind of drops and changes levels, lets that hand go a little bit, and he steps forward with that front foot, if you could see. Bam! Now what that does is it makes Valdez react with that high guard, okay? And this is the beginning of the fight. They're just feeling things out. You know, maybe he's seeing, okay, when I feint in, what does he do? Does he jump back? Does he put up the earmuffs? Does he try to counter punch me? You know, he's going to download this information and then hopefully be able to use it later against his opponent, which is Oscar Valdez. And let's look at that too. See, they're playing this chess game too, guys. Very smart on both ends. See Valdez coming in with the high guard, moving his head, changing levels himself. All right, let's see that. So he's got the high, drops low as well. Makes Shakur take a step back and gain that space, gain that control back. Very important to get that distance. Oh, that was nice right there. He used his lead hand to turn him on the guard. Let's take another look at that. And again, I think I'm going to be chopping this up. I'm not going to like just sit here when I'm not saying anything. You know, I want to find the details in each round. I want to find the gold. You know, basically this is how I do a film study. This is how I find moves and drills to use with myself in my own training and with all the fighters that I train, okay? So let's look at that in slow motion, right? He comes in with that high guard, and these guys are in pro range, okay? Meaning they can touch each other without stepping in, okay? So they're in pro range. Shakur's not going to like that. He's a bit cornered right now against the ropes. Okay, he's going to use his lead hand to touch his guard and to turn him out. Now, Valdez has to turn. He kind of has no choice, right? Because Shakur's using his whole body weight, controlling his head. You control the head, guys. You control the spine. He's forced to step out and go to his right. And then Shakur can escape a little bit on the ropes, get himself a bit more room. See, he does the exact same thing again with that lead hand. Another thing to do, guys, is another thing to get used to, guys, you're not always going to be able to hit your opponent all the time. It's okay to touch his gloves or just kind of throw in front of him in his face. What that's going to do is occupy that distance. And that's what Shakur is really good at doing. See how he's doing that with those jabs? He's not throwing them with any power behind them. He's just touching them out there. Touching them out there. Touch, touch, feint, right? Touch. Using it to control distance, control his opponent. When you're using your lead hand a lot, guys, your opponent has to go through that, right? He has to figure out how to get around that somehow. He's got to throw it away. He's got to go underneath it. He's got to slip it, you know? And if he's being aggressive, you can use that as a post to just bounce out of there. Let's get back to it. Very good jab by Shakur. You know what? Valdez has solid defense, man. He uses that high guard very well. The high guard style is a hard style to use, in my opinion, if you don't know how to use it. Man, again, you know, this is becoming the theme of this video for sure. Is how Shakur uses that lead hand to get himself out of a sticky situation and to control Valdez's gloves. Ooh, let's look at that again. Back that up. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, a little off balance there. Okay, so let's break that down. So what Valdez did here was really good. And I'm not trying to crap all over Valdez. I'm a big fan of both of these fighters. And I have crazy respect for anyone who steps in the ring and basically puts their life on the line for us to have a bit of entertainment on a Saturday night, and that's what's really happening. So hats goes off to Valdez. I thought he's a tough warrior. He just couldn't do too much on this night. Okay, so he comes in with some head movement, right? And doesn't that look familiar? Doesn't that look very like Canelo-y? Going underneath, and then he explodes. A little awkward. He explodes with the lead right? And then you see his back foot carries over, a bit off balance, tries to follow up. And sometimes with a smart fighter like that, you got to fight him. You got to go to him. You got to get to him somehow, some way. So we're about halfway through the first round here. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so we've been talking about Shakur's lead hand, talking about his jabbing, talking about his touching, okay? Now, what he's doing here is he's throwing one speed of a jab, right? This one's bang. That's and then he touches. So changing gears basically is what I'm trying to get at, guys. And you guys gotta forgive me. This is my first time doing a video like this on the fly, trying to make it happen, trying not to force things to come out, and just this is what I do on a Saturday night watching fights, is just talk about it. I usually film fights for myself, break them down for myself, for my students. And yeah, so I'm trying to, share this with you guys so everyone can get better, so everyone can learn, and really take this. And when you watch boxing, don't just watch boxing, don't just watch them and be like, oh, they're just trying to punch each other. Watch what the one guy does. What does the other guy do? And then try to figure out why, and then break it down. Watch it in slow motion. See, why did that work? Why did that jab work? What was the other guy doing? What was his defense doing? Where were they at in the ring, right? There is a reason for everything in boxing. That is literally why they call it the sweet science, guys, okay? I have a theory that there's always something to learn in every second of every minute of every fight. Right? He gives them almost 3 speeds of jabs here. See, first one is a fast jab. Second one is just a touch. And he controls him for a little bit, making Oscar try to dip under. Controlling him, and then he throws another fast jab there, touching again, reacting, right? And you see he's just starting to use his backhand, Shakur, anyways. And Oscar's doing a good job at cutting him off, not letting him run away, not letting him get away. Oh, there we go. This is one of my favorite moves to use against an aggressive opponent. So Valdez is going to walk him down, and then Shakur is going to dip in and smother his ass. So let's see that again. Okay, let's slow-mo it. So Shakur's in a bad situation right here. I'll try to use the mouse, right? Valdez is walking him down. He's being aggressive, doing what he has to do, right? He should not be trying to make this a boxing match right now. He needs to make it an ugly fight, an in Shakur Stevenson's face fight, and just make it ugly, right? Throwing both hands at the same time. He gets him stuck here. Shakur's in a bad spot. And instead of going over here where Valdez could just, keep following him and make it easy on him, he is going to dip in and smother. Now he's in full control. Look, Oscar's feet are literally off the ground. Okay, he's going to hold on to him until Kenny Bayless literally comes in and has to break them up. And he uses the ref to get his space back. Okay, right? It's okay to control guys. It's okay to grab guys, right? Make the ref do his job. It's not your job to not hold the guy. One of the things I hate in boxing, if you've ever seen this, and this does happen a bit more in the amateurs, is when guys get stuck together and then one of them just does this to show the ref that he's not holding, okay? That's where the other guy can just hit you out of nowhere, okay? It's your responsibility to protect yourself. And sometimes the best way to protect yourself is to wrap the guy up. Grab him. Wrap his arms up so he can't hit you. Take a couple deep breaths and then let the ref come in and do his job. Sharp jab. Just keeping him at bay. For Shakur to win this fight, he had to keep the distance. He had to fight at his range the whole time. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. And Valdez is just using that high guard and just letting Shakur control him a little bit too much. He's got to be catching his jab, trying to slip it, trying to counter. But this is easier said than done, man. Shakur is probably the southpaw version of young Floyd Mayweather. I think he's probably the best copy of that. I wish he was a right-hander. That way I could watch him a bit more. Oh, beautiful combo, beautiful. Let's take a look at that again. And this is what I do when I'm watching fights, guys. I just watch it, I enjoy it, I look at it, and then when something cool happens, let's back that up. Right, what happened? I'll pause it, I'll rewind it, I'll download it, I'll write it down, I'll make some notes on it, and I will make it into a drill or take it into my own training the next session or my fighter's training. So he's touching him with that jab, touching, 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 and then he explodes with the lead left, right? Now, Valdez is thinking about that jab, right? Shakur's letting him know, hey man, jab's coming, and then he throws a lead left. Beautiful work. Doesn't really land, but it gets his distance back. It gets them separated a little bit, guys. Ooh, another beautiful combo right there. Let's check that out. Let's see what he actually does. Instead of just, that's another thing we watch film for. Your brain will trick you into thinking like what he actually does. You know, if you think of Mike Tyson training, for example, you think of his hands and his fights. They're always here. And it's not true when he actually fights. His hands are waving all around. He's moving. Sometimes he drops them. So we want to take a look at what the best fighters are actually doing when they're in action in the ring. Not even so much in training. Is what is Shakur doing in this fight? You know, he's one of the best fighters out there right now. What is he actually doing? And how can we learn from that? How can we take something he does well into our own training to make us 1% better? So let's see. So he starts it with a jab. Then he throws a hook with the lead hand. Now, right here, you see this whole outside foot thing, fighting for position, right? He gets that outside foot. Bam! Straight left to the body, you know. Not a real damaging shot, but it does land. And it keeps Oscar Valdez from hitting him, okay? Let's watch that again, guys. And look how fast this is in real time. 1, 2, 3. Boom. 3 shots. Lightning fast. Valdez really doesn't have time to react. He kind of tries to bounce out, but he still gets that body shot in. And then Shakur's right back to controlling him. Beautiful work, guys. Touching, measuring. He's always trying to keep perfect distance, right? And then when he gets to him, he tries to wrap him up right there. See, that was a bit of a close call. And again, this sounds like it's just a Shakur Stevenson film study, but it's not. I like Oscar Valdez as well. Man, his last knockout he got was amazing. He was like walking backwards and then threw that bomb. This is not me hating on him or anything. This is just looking at what I see and what I like. So let's see that again. So again, Valdez is going to throw a lead right. He did this well in the fight. That was probably one of his best punches that he threw. And you could see that he shifted with his feet, whether on accident or on purpose, who knows. But he ends up in a good spot in his face, throwing both hands, like what I said he has to do. Shakur's like, no, I'm going to try to wrap him up. Valdez is still being aggressive, doesn't allow it to happen. And then Shakur just has to turn him out, get him on the ropes. Beautiful work. Ooh, another thing too. Speaking of Valdez, okay, this is something good that you need to do if you're using the high guard. Okay, let's see. Check that out, right? He's in that high guard position. When you're using the high guard position, your body is going to be a little bit more vulnerable because you're trading off of, straight up defense, having the good shield on the head for some body openings, okay? But what he's doing well right here is you can see that his eyes are on the target. He's seeing, right? Usually the punch that you don't see is the one that hurts you, right? But when you can see, you can react, you can catch, you can even absorb it and be ready for the shot. So if you're going to use the high guard, you need to be able to see. Seeing is like a superpower, okay, guys? Gotta have good vision, even from that high guard. Don't block your own vision, okay? And he gets himself casually out of that corner. Let's look at that again. Bam. See how he uses that jab to the body? Just to get Shakur reacting and stepping back again. Now he has a bit more space between them. Now he can circle out and get off the ropes. Alright guys, that's it. That's all. I'll see you in the next round.